Tune in Tuesdays, don't be late. Nate and Mike got info great. Local auto news you need to hear. Ready to shift your knowledge gear. They're the pros from the dealer's floor, with tips and tricks and so much more. Be the buyer that's wise and smart. Rolling in style, you're off to a start. Mohawk Table Talk, come join the ride. The podcast that's got you auto supplied. From deals to trends and buying advice, we'll make car shopping extra nice. Got a question? Ask away. Nate and Mike got things to say. Guests drop in with insights to share. They'll guide you with their expert flair. Stories flow, insights unfold. Stay ahead, drive bold and cold. Mohawk secrets shared with care. Hit the road with confidence to spare. Mohawk Table Talk, come join the ride. The podcast that's got you auto supplied. From deals to trends and buying advice, we'll make car shopping extra nice. Got a question? Ask away. Nate and Mike got things to say. Guests drop in with insights to share. They'll guide you with their expert flair. Stories flow, insights unfold. Stay ahead, drive bold and cold. Mohawk secrets shared with care. Hit the road with confidence to spare. Mohawk Table Talk, come join the ride. The podcast that's got you auto supplied. From deals to trends and buying advice, we'll make car shopping extra nice. Mohawk Table Talk, come join the ride. The podcast that's got you auto supplied. From deals to trends and buying advice, we'll make car shopping extra nice.
We're the one you way up. We are so glad you're here. Tune in Tuesdays, don't be late. Nate and Mike got info great. Local auto news you need to hear. Ready to shift your knowledge gear. They're the pros from the dealer's floor, with tips and tricks and so much more. Be the buyer that's wise and smart. Rolling in style, you're off to a start. Mohawk Table Talk, come join the ride. The podcast that's got you auto supplied. From deals to trends and buying advice, we'll make car shopping extra nice. Got a question? Ask away. Nate and Mike got things to say. Guests drop in with insights to share. They'll guide you with their expert flair. Stories flow, insights unfold. Stay ahead, drive bold and cold. Mohawk secrets shared with care. Hit the road with confidence to spare. Ooh, Mohawk Table Talk, come join the ride. The podcast that's got you auto supplied. From deals to trends and buying advice, we'll make car shopping extra nice. Stories flow, insights unfold. Stay ahead, drive bold and cold. Mohawk secret.
Here we
share with
are.
care.
It is
Hit the
late,
road with
but you
confidence to
we made it.
spare.
if you're on the West Coast time, we're on time.
We covered that last week. Just because it's 2:30. If we were in the mountains, mountain time we're on.
That's right.
12:30.
And that's all that matters. And if you're listening on Spotify or after on the replay, you have no idea that we were on Mountain Time today. But we had a lot going on here, and we always have a lot going on. We just shot our first episode. We finished our first episode of the Plate Change Challenge. That is going to be a 3-month process of getting the episodes, editing the episodes, and the grand finale will be August 1st underneath the lights at Valley Cats. So
That's right. So that's to be determined. Well, we already know the outcome, but we're not sharing. We're not sharing at least of the first. We
know the first episode right now.
That's right. That's right. We're not sharing. But what we are sharing is, and we should welcome you. Welcome everybody watching live or on the replay. This is Mohawk Table Talk coming to you live from the Mohawk Honda Studios in Scotia, New York.
Yes.
Scotia, New York. My name is Mike. This is Nathaniel. We're here to bring you the latest and the greatest of what's going on here in upstate New York, what's going on in the car business nationally, and, of course, what's going on with Mohawk Auto Group.
Right.
And, we have a bunch of stuff to cover, and we're going to knock right through it, but we didn't want to miss the Plate Change Challenge. That's one of the things that we have going on here at Mohawk, and we have a couple other things that are going on locally.
Yeah, so we are always trying to be a part of the community in any way that we can, and that comes along with some community events. So May 18th, which I believe is this Sunday?
That's coming up.
That's this Sunday.
That's in a few days from now.
This Sunday, and again, if you're watching the replay, you're like, what do you mean? So May 18th, 2025, we have the Dagan Truck Pull. June 12th, we have the Route 50 Mile. I'm getting there. Producer, these are not in order. They're probably within, 30 days or so.
Well, they're not in chronological.
They're not in chronological order.
Right.
I should do that. But anyway, we have All That Jazz Gala also on June 12th. We have our Shakin' and Stirred event, which is on May 15th.
And what else do we have? Oh,
Heritage Family Foundation Golf Tournament.
The Charlton Heritage.
Charlton Heritage 5K.
That's on the 7th, right?
The Torch Run on June 18th.
Wow.
The Plate Change Challenge we just talked about. And June 8th is the Capital Region Heart Walk. Run and walk.
That's a lot.
So we got a lot of things going on.
Boy, that one weekend, we're going to be, at least Nate and I will be
everywhere.
Running everywhere. We'll try to go live. We'll try to go we'll do whatever we have to.
The social media response vehicle will be in full effect.
That's right. So a lot of things going on. We're involved not just for the physicality and fitness of it. That's kind of important. Anybody that wants to join us, of course, but we're participating and we're donating our time and capital to really helping the community, and that's what we're all about. If you've tuned into Mohawk Table Talk before, you know that it's very important to us, the two of us, the entire Mohawk Auto Group, that we don't just work here, but we also live here and play here. So we want to make sure we're giving back to the community at every time, every opportunity that we have.
Absolutely. And now it's time. You ever wonder, how does Mohawk get so many used cars? Where do they come from? Do they just pull them out of thin air? Is everybody just trading in their cars? Well, we're going to discuss that right now with the used car expert in the Capital Region. That is the one and only Mike O'Toole.
Expert, I'm not sure about that, but we certainly have some info to share about where we get the used vehicles. And the reason we bring this up is because we've had a number of questions, especially coming into this time where there actually might be an increase in used car buying. As compared to new car buying, we used the T word in previous episodes, right? There's tariffs, there's this and that, but that all has to do with new vehicles and parts. So the other side of that is if somebody is a buyer, and we want you to be as informed as possible, right?
That's
because
right.
Like Nate always says, an informed buyer
is the best buyer.
That's right. So if the new vehicles and you're like, Mike, Nate, well, all these tariffs and all this other kind of thing, you know what? That's not for me. I'd rather look at something else. Why don't I just buy a used vehicle? Mm-hmm. Well, I couldn't agree more. We couldn't agree more. That is certainly an option.
It's music to Mike's ears.
That's right. It is music to my ears. On that note, though, once you look in, you say, okay, now I'm going to look for a used car. I want to find a quality used car. Mohawk Honda, Mohawk Chevrolet, we have a lot of used vehicles, right? Just check out our website. There are hundreds on there, and it's a logical question as to where do they come from. Like Nate just asked, where do they come from? How could you possibly have so many used cars? And we want to try to answer that.
We just pull them out of thin air.
Well, we don't really do that. There's a couple main ways that we acquire vehicles. obviously the first and most obvious way is if somebody buys a vehicle from us and they currently have a vehicle, you can trade one vehicle for the other, receive credit for that trade-in, both monetarily and for tax purposes.
Right.
And then that vehicle that somebody trades might be in great shape, might be low mileage, all that kind of thing. That may be a vehicle that we then put out front and resell. But before we put it out front, and we've discussed this before, all the vehicles that we receive, whether they're Hondas or Chevrolets or any make or model, if they're something that we're considering retailing, they go through a 182-point check at the Honda store, and they go through Car Bravo certification at the Chevy store. And what that means is that the vehicles are checked to make sure they're safe, there's no issues, existing issues, and maintenance and things like that are all in great shape so that the next buyer doesn't take on somebody else's.
That's right.
You've heard that, right? Somebody says, I don't
we don't
want to
take on any
headaches.
Yep. No, we don't want anyone to take on anyone else's problems, and so we make the problems our own.
Yeah.
The problems are your own, old man.
And they may not even be problems, right? I mean, I guess I understand if somebody maybe had a vehicle and it's time to put like tires and brakes and spend all this money and all this kind of thing. Instead of spending the money, there are some people say, well, instead of spending the money on that, I might as well just get a new car.
Yep.
And that's not for everybody, but some people make that decision. So,
but it could be you.
That's right.
And if that's you, we're here for you.
That's right. Whether you decide to spend the money and make sure that vehicle that you currently own is up to snuff or not, if you do, our service departments are happy to help and get you scheduled. But if you decide to trade it instead, right now,
you know who
Mohawk
you are.
owns that vehicle that may need tires and brakes, and those are the things that we do ahead of time to make sure the next buyer isn't buying a vehicle that they need to worry about.
Yeah.
Right. And on our website, most of you have been on our website. If you check out any of our pre-owned vehicles on either site, we have a really cool feature on there where you can click on the little folder or packet, we call it.
Packet.
It's called an iPacket.
That's right.
iPacket, it's probably the i thing's trademarked, right? Well,
who knows?
This iPacket, and that gives you a lot of information, including the repair orders. So the service receipts, we call it. So if we put new tires on that car that was traded and it needed them, you'll be able to see the new tires. You'll be able to see that oil change or anything else that we did. And also, just as important, you'll be able to see that Carfax history report. Carfax. That name, it's pretty tough to run down that name, right? I mean, they've been around forever.
Show me the Carfax.
Exactly. We have the little Carfax up front.
Yep.
Like the whole thing. But the history reports are really where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, in terms of getting comprehensive information about what journey that vehicle's been through before. So if it's a trade, you'll know what happened during that ownership cycle, and that includes if there were any issues, right? If there were any like accidents or anything like that. At Mohawk, we make sure that we quality check the vehicles before they're presented for sale, and it does happen, believe it or not, that we receive vehicles that do not pass that quality check, and we do not put those cars out front for sale. We don't sell.
For your safety.
That's right. Well, for your safety and for your peace of mind. And everybody knows that Mohawk stands behind their vehicles, so we wouldn't want to put the Mohawk name on a vehicle that we know has some issues. It's certainly not worth it, and we certainly don't want to pass that on to anybody else who lives, works, or plays in the community like we do. So that's really, really important. But that's one way that we get trades.
Just one.
That's just one. That's if we receive a trade from a person who walked in and traded in their car. There are a couple other ways that Carfax will indicate. You can kind of follow a history of any vehicle. So even if you haven't bought that vehicle yet from us, and you look on the website and you check that auto iPacket and you see the history, you can actually do that, and there's no charge. You can do that on any car. You can do it on all of them.
There you go.
If you wanted to spend hours and hours doing it, but you could.
Or you just come in and we can help you out.
That's right. Or we can help you out. On that note, if you have any questions about any of the vehicles or don't see a Carfax for some reason, technical reason, you can always jump on the chat on our website, and our folks will be happy to send you a Carfax by text or email or anything like that.
We're here for you.
Kind of neat you can do that.
We go out of our way to please
That's
you.
right. That is.
You like
that? Is
that?
going out of their way.
That's right.
So one of the other ways that that we see acquiring vehicles is we acquire vehicles at times at car auctions. Car auctions, everybody's heard of an auction before, but for car auctions, not really like eBay or Amazon where everybody sells stuff, but this is only for dealers, car auctions, where other dealers may bring vehicles that they haven't sold, or maybe it doesn't fit their dealership DNA. Maybe they don't have the customers for those types of cars, right? Maybe they're a Ford store, as an example, and they don't sell Hondas there because it doesn't go with their Ford sign out front. So they, the only way to get rid of them is they take those vehicles, bring them to an auction, then a Honda dealer like us may buy them. Or vice versa. It's a Toyota store, and they have some Chevy vehicles, and they don't really sell Chevys, so they bring those vehicles to auction, and our Chevy store may buy those vehicles and be able to offer them for sale on our lot. So we have had questions in the past about, does a vehicle bought at auction mean it's a bad car? Right? Have you heard that?
Well, I mean, that's the first thing you think about, right? Like, at an auction, you're typically not. If I'm a person that doesn't know anything, right? The first thing I think about is, okay, it's an auction. There must be something wrong with it. Someone else didn't want it, so it's probably a bunch of things wrong that need to get fixed. How do I make sure that gets fixed right? And that's kind of where my first mind goes. So
yeah, I think that makes sense. As to you don't do this every day like we do, so that's why it's worth this conversation. The vehicles at auctions aren't dissimilar from somebody trading a vehicle, right? It could be that person traded a vehicle, that one owner trade, because there was something wrong with it. That's possible. And in that case, we'd find out, and if it's no good, we wouldn't even sell it. Same thing with auction vehicles. Or it could be that person that traded the vehicle just needed a different vehicle. That vehicle didn't fit them anymore.
Right.
They have a growing family, or they decided to do something else with their lifestyle, and they needed a different type of vehicle, and the car that they're trading, there was nothing wrong with it. They just didn't need it anymore.
Yeah.
Same thing with dealers, right? Dealers have a certain DNA of vehicles that they sell, but they take everything in on trade.
Right. Of course.
To use an extreme example, it's funny, right before we came up here, which it might be the reason that we're late, I think I'll take blame for that.
But me too.
That's right. We were taking in, I was working with some folks downstairs, some great people who live locally, and they're actually trading a motorcycle.
I saw that come in.
They're trading a motorcycle, and it worked out, and it worked out well for us too. But Mohawk Honda, we're not a motorcycle dealer.
Nope.
So what are we going to do with that motorcycle? We're going to move it, and we're going to bring it to an auction where they sell motorcycles. So somebody buying that motorcycle at auction, it's not because there's anything wrong with it or it's a bad vehicle. It's just that the dealer who took it in, us, we don't specialize in selling motorcycles.
Right.
So that would be an example of why a dealer might bring a vehicle to an auction, in terms of what could be the reason why it would be there.
Right.
So if you see a vehicle, and whether it's on Carfax or anything else, and the vehicle came from an auction, certainly doesn't mean it's bad, but it's always worth a question. We never blame anybody for asking. You always want to ask, right?
Always ask the questions. And if you have any questions, obviously we are here to help.
We are here to help. And there's no set answer for all cars at auctions, just like there's no set answer for all cars that are traded in terms of what happened in the past, right? Each one has its own story, and that's exactly what the Carfax does, is it tells that story and gives you peace of mind that you know the information ahead of time.
Very good.
Makes sense, right?
Makes sense. Is there anywhere else that we get them?
There is. We
back alleyways?
Well, we don't get them in back alleyways. That would be a little weird. But I was
Black market.
Yesterday on the live, right? We went Facebook Live.
We went Facebook Live.
It was just Facebook. So if you're a Facebook watcher, you may have seen this.
And if you're not, we'll fill you in right now.
That's right. If you're watching the replay,
special Mohawk Table Talk special just for our listeners.
And after you watch this episode, you can go to Facebook and check out the live.
There you go.
Which won't be live anymore. It'll be replay live anyway.
The live video. The video. You can watch the replay.
We were chatting yesterday about this same topic as I was out on the lot, and I had walked by a couple of vehicles. And those vehicles we had acquired from a rental company.
Oh.
Right? A rental company. And everybody knows when we're talking about rental company, we're talking about vehicles that if you go on vacation or something, or you travel somewhere and you need a car to use and you go to the airport and there's the rental cars.
Yep.
Those types of vehicles. And in the past, we've had questions, right? You've heard that. People ask, like,
definitely.
Oh, is a rental car like a bad car to buy?
Yeah, why would I do that? People don't care about those cars. They just drive them.
Could be.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, and that's not completely inaccurate. But what I would say is always want to look at both sides and remember that whether it's a one-owner trade or it's an auction vehicle or if it's a previous rental, the vehicles go through that same check-over when the vehicles come to the dealership. So just like the trades, just like the auction vehicles, if we acquire previous rental vehicles and they do not pass our standard of mechanical check and maintenance and all that kind of thing, then we do not resell the vehicles.
Right.
So you're not in danger of seeing a vehicle on Mohawk Honda or Mohawk Chevrolet's lot, whether it's a prior rental or not, that has issues. We've checked it ahead of time.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, when we're talking about rentals, there's a couple sides to that coin. I know that when I rent a vehicle, right, I travel, I rent a vehicle because I need to drive a few places. When I'm driving that rental vehicle, I don't know about you, but it's not my car, right? I don't own it, and I'm paying a certain amount per day to use it, but I'm very careful with it.
Well, I don't want to crash it,
yeah,
one.
I don't want to do anything with it like it's not mine. I don't want to be responsible for
Yeah.
damaging it or anything like that. So I'd almost say I'm almost more careful with the rental vehicle than I am with my own car. I don't know if that's good
That's
about
fair.
my own car, but so I'm somebody,
you know.
so I'm very cautious. So I think there's kind of like that stigma that people think that rental vehicles, like everybody who drives a rental vehicle, all of a sudden turns into like a NASCAR driver and they're running into things.
I mean, you can't. I mean, you technically can't even rent a car unless you're what, 25?
Right. And,
so
and it's
you
on
know
your own insurance and all that.
So there's that.
So I'm not saying that there are never rental cars that have damage, just like there are auction
Trade-in.
cars that have damage and trade-ins that have damage.
But we take care of it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it doesn't mean that they're immune or the rental cars who live in some bubble where they can't get damaged or issues. But I would submit that most people take care of rental vehicles and they don't all of a sudden change from a normal driver into a terrible driver when they rent a car. So the idea that rental cars are beat up or anything like that, that in general isn't the case. And I know that at Mohawk, we don't buy vehicles that are beat up. So if we see rental vehicles that are beat up, we just don't acquire them, right? Yeah. So that might exist. We just don't acquire those vehicles.
Moral of the story is we're obviously going to check it. We are the experts. We're going to make sure that the vehicle is not going to give you any headaches, just like we talked about previously. So it is okay. Yes, there are those one-offs, but everyone makes mistakes. Yeah. And that's okay. Yeah. We are there to correct them. We're make sure that everything is good. And, we're here for you.
And we make sure that we have tons of eyes on all of these vehicles. Again, regardless of where we acquired the vehicle from, again, that trade, that auction vehicle, that prior rental, or anywhere else, those vehicles are put through our checklist to make sure that the next buyer has peace of mind. And most importantly, Mohawk Auto Group, we do not put our name on vehicles that have issues or problems because we ride on our reputation just like you do.
That's right.
Very, very important.
Yep.
Whew.
There we go.
That was a lot of Mike talking. I wanted to make sure we got all that in because it's the topic of the day.
We got it all in. And we know we're keeping the episode short for y'all today.
That's right. We're in full go mode. Nate ran down the list of local events that we have going on. A lot involve us. Some are here at the Mohawk Auto Group. Some are outside, but in the community. So we have a lot going on. If you see our name attached to any event locally, we'd love to see you either attend, contribute, or at least support the folks that are there.
Yes.
It's very important to us, and I know it's important to you. We always want to give back to our community where we can.
Absolutely. And, make sure you're checking out our socials. If you're listening on the Spotify podcast, thank you so much. Anyone that is on our Facebook, our YouTube, our Twitch, wherever you're watching this content, whether you're on YouTube as well or LinkedIn or wherever the social media platform that you find yourself finding this content, we want to thank you for watching and make sure you subscribe. And we will see you on the next Mohawk Table Talk, where we know the educated buyer is the best buyer. Till next time, see you later.